Ghana, land of freedom, toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results.
So we have called up this editorial to offer what we call a kind rebuttal to the Ghana Medical Association. This is an association of doctors, people who are learned in science and who are also doctors and specialists. They have said that the government should go on a total lockdown. That's the word that has been used. We are yet to fully understand that, but it's been used all over the world as a total lockdown in a way to stop the spread of the coronavirus, otherwise called COVID-19. Our rebuttal tonight is based on the fact that the evidence being put forward to put pressure on the president to occasion a lockdown for all Ghanaians lacks an anthropological basis. It doesn't have any basis in anthropology, and it looks like it has not been thought through sociologically, and the demographics of Ghana have not been well considered. Because if all of these matters were considered, any reasonable person will come to the conclusion that the lockdown will occasion more danger to the people of Ghana. Let me use my sanitizer, and then we will continue with this editorial, because I have a few more things to say. So I have a small sanitizer here that, please, let's, as much as you can, keep a sanitizer on you, and then you can do this, because that's one of the measures that has been, that's one of the measures that has been told us. To get into the analysis, let's talk about the president's conduct. Generally across the world, this president, President Akufo-Addo, has been congratulated for the way in which he has handled this matter, for the leadership that he has provided. First of all, an interministerial committee was set up. And his first public announcement about this matter was on Ghana's Independence Day on the 6th of March at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, where he talked about it. And as he descended the podium to leave the stadium, the video went round and it went viral, where somebody extended a handshake to the president. The president said, no, we can't shake hands at this time. And people commended him for that. Then he came up with very strong measures on the 15th of March. In a nationwide broadcast, the president indicated even at that time, Ghana didn't have a confirmed case. He indicated a reduced social interaction. Churches were closed down, schools were closed down, and other public places that were permitted to operate on certain protocols stated by the president. So that's great. And then after that, on the 16th of March, Ghana recorded its first case. Right now, we all know, and you can see the statistics on the screen about the number of cases Ghana has now recorded. On the 21st of March, the president came up with more stringent measures, where he closed down the Ghana airports, the Accra Kotoka International Airport, and he closed down the borders to human traffic, but also allowed cargo. So by and large, and then the other most important one is that visitors who came into, Ghanaians who came from outside the country to the airports since the 21st of March have been quarantined at the cost of the government. They've been quarantined in hotels all over at the cost of the government. They have undergone compulsory testing, and some of those tests have been positive. We are hearing now that majority of them were, however, negative. Thanks be to God. But this is what the president has done. So by and large, everyone will give the president and his team very, very high marks for how they have managed the COVID-19 processes. So that's what worries me about this pressure, incessant pressure being put on the president to do a general lockdown. My concern about this general lockdown is that it is imported from somewhere else. It's imported from France and Italy and Britain. And later on, I'll be showing you Britain's rules about lockdown, and you will see that there's no point of us following. I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, and I'll make some suggestions which I've heard from different people. Ahead of this program, I called many people and asked them suggestions. So all of those suggestions that have been offered to me, I will share with you inside this editorial. But the problem is, this importation of something that has happened elsewhere that elite in Ghana continue to do. And I spoke to somebody and said, those calling for lockdown, they don't even understand the demographics. They don't understand the social anthropology of our country. And they don't see that our country is different from Paris, and it's different from Toulouse, and it's different from London, it's different from New York. Even in terms of our planning, the arrangement of our society, percentage of formal sector, percentage of informal sector, nobody has thought about that. And then Ghana Medical Association, maybe they should have consulted the Department of Sociology at the University of Ghana, share it with them and the statistical department, and share it with them and say, this is what we are thinking. What should it be? There has to be creative thinking from leadership in Ghana. There has to be creative thinking from the elite in Ghana. Let's not take everything that we see on CNN and say that we should implement it because we are reading international news and we are elite people and we've been to school and we see something in Luxembourg and we say we should do it in Ghana. Lockdown Luxembourg, lockdown Ghana. Lockdown China, lockdown Ghana. That is not what we went to school for. We went to school so that we can learn, have a broad mind, understand Luxembourg, but be able to localize our solutions. We have to be able to localize our solutions. We have to be able to think through our own problem and localize it and solve our problems the way we solve it. That is what Ghana was known for in the 60s. Suddenly, a group of elites bust up and they are calling on the president to do something that has been done in London the same way it has been done in London. Are you serious? That the way they've locked down. Do you know what happens in Paris? People, when are leaving their homes, they make a phone call to the district office and say that I'm on Kwame Nkrumah Street, I'm leaving, I'm walking my dog on Patrice Lumumba Street, and they tell him that we can see Patrice Lumumba Street because they can actually see it. It's filmed, it's camera. And they can tell him that there are 10 people on Patrice Lumumba Street. In the next 1 hour, 3 of them will go home, and then you can go. That's the kind of system that operates there. And you watch that and you say we should lock down Ghana. I was beside myself with shock that people are just calling on the president. Check Facebook, civil society, and these are all elite people who have been to school, who have had training, and you would have expected that they would think through what they are saying and localize, offer suggestions that localize our solution, offer suggestions that are workable within our context. Anthropology is a very important theme of study. It's a very important discipline when it comes to mobilizing society. Sociology is an important discipline when it comes to mobilizing society and developing our own solutions. And tonight we're going to talk about what should be our own solutions. Now, let's have a look at the statistics of Ghana. The basic one. There's a beautiful article that I'm sure most of you have seen. This is how it's headlined. You can see it on the screen now. It's a very beautiful article. And in that article, they offered statistics. And I'm going to share those statistics with you because we have checked with the Ghana Statistical Service and most of it is correct. I'm going to share those statistics with you and then we will progress and think through what our solutions should be. This is our very kind rebuttal to the Ghana Medical Association. President Akufo-Addo cannot lock down Ghana. He should not lock down Ghana the way it has been done in Luxembourg and in Paris. And I'll show you the exceptions to lockdown in London, and you will now understand. Let's look at the statistics. According to statistics from Accra Metropolitan Assembly, 91%, listen to this, 91% of homes in Accra, the capital city of Ghana, are without places of convenience. That means they don't have toilets. 91%. 91%. So that of every 100 homes in Ghana, 9 of those homes don't have toilets. They don't have it. Furthermore, in some detail, over 114,000 residences in Accra are without places of convenience. 315 houses use the outlawed pan latrines. Pan latrines has been outlawed. But yet, in Ghana, 315 houses use the pan latrines. 71 houses use pit latrines. This is just about how people ease themselves in Ghana. This is how people ease themselves when they are at home. Okay. 37% of households across the country use the public toilet. 35.7% of households across the country use the public toilet. 19% of households across the country resort to open defecation. 81% of Ghanaians lack access to improved sanitation or are entirely without toilet facilities. That's a staggering one. 81% of Ghanaians lack access to improved sanitation or are entirely without toilet facilities. Let's go on. In Ghana, more than 5 million people, constituting over 18% of the population, rely on surface water to meet their daily water needs. Surface water is not pipe-borne. 18% rely on surface water to meet their daily water needs. 32.3% of the households across the country have their main source of drinking water from a well. 32% have their main source of drinking water from a well. That means their source of drinking water is not inside the house. They have to get out of the house to collect their source of drinking water. 12.5% of households use public tap. 12.5% of households use a public tap. So the tap is public. They all have to go there and fetch. 73.9% of households in rural areas use either a well or a natural resource of water. Let's come to the economic statistics as well. 6.8 million Ghanaians, totaling 25% of our entire population, live on less than $1 a day. 2.4 million of our population are in abject poverty, and that means they can't even afford to spend up to 50 cents a day on food. And then now listen to this. This is from the Freddie Ebert Stiftung Foundation, the Ghana office. It says 88%, a staggering 88% of Ghanaians work in the informal sector. So these are the statistics that confront President Akufo-Addo when you are asking him to do a lockdown. People go to Aboboloshi market, they earn 6 cedis a day. All the 6 cedis will finish. They spend that on food only. They don't spend that on clothing. They don't spend that on shelter because they sleep there. They sleep where you go this morning to go and buy the yam. You bought the plantain. You bought where you bought it. That square meter within which he sold it to you. That's where he sleeps in the night. He makes 6 cedis as profit. If you dash him 1 cedi, he makes 7. If I dash him 1 cedi, he makes 8. He's entitled to 6 cedis if it's a good day. And the money that people give him is the rest of it. So he sleeps there. And then tomorrow he makes another 6 cedis. All the 6 cedis is spent on food. The next day, he lives by the minute. He doesn't live by the hour. He lives by the minute. He's living every minute. You are going to lock down. Ask him, where is he going? That's where he sleeps. And that's outdoor. That's where he sleeps. So you say, stay at home. Which home? Which home is he going to stay at? Have we thought about these things? Shouldn't there be a more creative way to think about these things than to tell the president, come on lockdown to prevent the spread of COVID-19? We don't want the spread of COVID-19. No one wants the spread of COVID-19. And COVID-19 is a serious matter. But we are saying that these kinds of pressures from the elite, and my total disappointment is that it is with elite people who have been to school, who have learned, who should be offering us intelligent, yes, I said it, intelligent and well thought through solutions rather than just call the president that he should lock down. So we must have some suggestions. Now, people who are talking like this, they have paid leave. They can stay at home for 3 months. They have paid leave. They can do the so-called stock up. This morning, I read something on Facebook. Somebody said that he wanted to do panic buying. But when he checked his bank account, he didn't have any money. So he found out that he can do the panic, but he cannot do the buying. Can you imagine that? It's a joke. It sounds funny. But that is the case of many of our compatriots across the country from north to south. They cannot do panic buying because they don't have the resources to do the panic buying. They will panic, but they cannot buy because every day what they make is what finishes. Every day what they make is what they live on. And the next day they have to make. So if you say they should buy for a week, they don't have resources to buy for a week. They can buy for a day. They can't buy for a week. So why can't we have some creative solutions? The other day I was talking to the Accra mayor, and he seemed to have some brilliant solutions about the stores in Makola. Why can't we say this store opens today, the next one shouldn't open because we are practicing physical distancing? And let the market people arrange it. This store opens, this suggestions people have given me. And we can continue to think about it. And that's what we should do. It's a discussion. Let's think about it. As people who have been to school, leaders of the country, civil society, Ghana Medical Association, Ghana Bar Association, Institution of Engineers, Institution of Architects. Let's come together and think and offer practical, doable, implementable solutions to the president of Ghana. Let's not copy what has happened in Paris and Luxembourg using the same words, lockdown, just go and lock down. Can you imagine this? We shouldn't be doing this. We should give the president practical solutions. So, Mayor was saying something, other people have said it. Let us open one shop and close it. Let's get to the market. So people who are selling tomatoes, they can come on a particular day. They don't come another day. So the market works 6 days a week. So now the market will not work 6 days a week for every item. Some items will be there today, they will not be there tomorrow. So that we are practicing distancing, we are reducing the numbers of people who go to the market. We can even have police people stand there and allow a certain number to be in the market at that time, tell them to try and do it in an hour, and another group can come. These are practical solutions. I'm not saying that's a solution, but it has to be something that's original. The original thinking is not coming from our elite. Let our elite give us original thinking. That's what we are looking for. Not thinking borrowed from Luxembourg and borrowed from France, seen on CNN. That's disappointing, totally disappointing. The elite of our country should come up with creative ways to deal with these things. The other day they were spraying the market in a certain way that is accustomed to Ghana's market spraying. Somebody said they should have a drone flying over the market and spraying. And another person said, no, you can't do that in Ghana. You can do that in China because of the way the stores are arranged. But in Ghana, you need to enter the shop because there's a basket in the corner. Behind the basket, there's something. If you flight a drone, it will just fall on the roof and it will not get into the places. So let's take the hose and get in there and spray. That's the way we do it in Ghana. We don't need a drone spraying at Makola market. That's creative thinking. We are not just borrowing what China is doing. We are looking at the circumstances of our market and we are dealing with it. That's important. A journalist friend of mine who's in Kenya, Nairobi, she sent me this article and it talks about how African journalists are not doing enough. Have a look at this. It's showing on the screen. This is just a screenshot of it. And those who want it, I think you can Google it and you can find it. And it's talking about how African journalists are not leading the conversation to originalize the solutions to COVID-19. And I was disappointed when I read it, and that's the point we're making today. It's very, very important that we originalize our solutions. Now let's look at London. I'm going to show you on the screen the kinds of things that London is doing in what they call the lockdown. Have a look. one, you can go shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible. So try not to go every time. Number two, one form of exercise a day, alone or with members of your household. So if your household is 10, your household is 7, your household is 12, you are allowed in London to go with members of your household. Number three, any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person. You can go out for a medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person. These are the exemptions to London's lockdown. Traveling to and from work. Now hear that. Traveling to and from work, but only where this absolutely cannot be done from home. So you saw that that's London's lockdown. Travel to buy essential things. We travel to buy only essential things. So we don't have traveling. We go to shopping to buy essential things, I mean. We shop only to buy essential things. We don't have the luxury of shopping to go and do luxury stuff. Now they go for a walk, one exercise a day, and they can monitor that because it's planned. They can regulate that. Even in London, they are saying people can go to shop to buy essential things, but they should just do it infrequently. So that's London. They are trying to be creative about their own thing. This is what we are bringing here and say that go on a walk with your household, etc. We are talking about the buses, the public transport. That's my last bit. And that's very, very important, the public transport. So the public transport is choked. We know that. The seating arrangements in the trotros is unhealthy for COVID-19. We know that. So somebody suggested this. Why doesn't the president close down public offices? So Ghana Post closed down. Not only essential people must go to work. Ghana Broadcasting Corporation closed down. Only essential people must go to work. Well, Metro TV is not so public, but yeah, Metro TV can close down. Only essential people must come to work. Those who can work from home can work from home. Volta River Authority, GNPC. When you do that, majority of these people who are going on the trotros have to stay at home. So they might not be on the trotros anyway. And then you can find some petrol cushion for the trotro people, trotro and taxi people, so that they are buying the petrol at a cheaper rate. Something, you can do something like that. All of these things are suggestions that have come from many people that I spoke to. So Ghana, our elite, our leadership, let us think for our solutions. Let us create our own original solutions. Please, I beg you, let us create our own original solutions. This is a discussion. I know many will not agree with me. That's why there's Facebook. As much as you disagree, please put out your disagreement. Good Evening Ghana Official is on Facebook. You can go there and put out your disagreement. You can decide to say it anyhow you want to say it. We will always respond. But this is our firm view of the matter. And we continue to consult many other people who have a totally different view. I'd like to congratulate the one who wrote the article that we talked about. Whoever you are, congratulations. You have done an original thinking work for our people. And hopefully what you have suggested will be carried very far. We have used it. I'm sure other people will use it and we can go. So let us give ourselves a few hours, a few days, and offer practical solutions to the president. Ghana Medical Association, come together with the Ghana Bar Association, the university lecturers in sociology and anthropology, the Ghana Institution of Engineers, Ghana Association of Architects, Ghana Association of Accountants, all of these leadership groups in the intellectual sphere. Let us come together and think creatively. Let's think creatively. Let's not import something from Luxembourg. Now, I like No Tribe. They sang this very beautiful music. So we can end with No Tribe if we like, because we trust God at the end of the day that of all these things, God will solve the problem. All these things, our faith in God will deliver the solution. Here is the president last Wednesday kneeling down, that's yesterday, kneeling down during the fasting session, and the men of God, the ecclesiastical, the men of spirit, have laid their hands on him. When we have done these things, we know that our God will listen. And so even before we see the solution, we can go over with No Tribe and say thanks be to God. Thank you.